Talk me through your thoughts on the events of the past few days, from the decision made to use the veto on Angela this week to put you on the block through your subsequent eviction.
For starters, Mike Bloom, huge fan of your work, cool guy. I don't know if you know this, but I DM'd you on Twitter like for Survivor, I think it was. I just think that you're very impressive and you very clearly handle this reality TV world with a sense of journalistic respect that is to be taken seriously on any format. And the fact that it's being applied to something as dorky as this is hilarious to me. Huge fan. Yeah, your interviews, your pregame interviews with Survivor players is actually, I would watch those, pause it, and then answer it within the context of being a Big Brother hopeful. And so that really helped me get on the show. So genuinely, you seem like a nice guy. I think that your little saw that says Bloom in the background of your Zoom meetings is cool, and I'm happy to know you. I think that taking Angela off the block was so dumb, dude. Oh my God. To the core of the decision. Mackenzie looks at me in the pedal room and she's like, I had to do it because, I need to keep someone in this game that I can control. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Mackenzie. Do you think you can control Angela? You are drunk. Or you are silly. That's what I'll say. You are silly if you think that this lady is going to do what you say. No shot. Tucker thought the same thing and it didn't work out for him. So she is going to lash out at you if she has the opportunity. If you share anything strategic with her, she will share it with everyone because she doesn't have much going on, which as she should. The decision to put me on the block, I hope that there is a super deep conspiracy outside of the one that was provided to me by Chelsea, just because I thought it was thoroughly so dumb. She told me that and I honestly the reason I lost respect for it, where I was like, girl, if you want to just lie to me, just do that. Don't not everything has to have this deep reason. And her telling me that she has to put me on the block because she's worried that I'm getting too close with Rubina. I'm like, if you're worried about Rubina, why not put her on the block? Why me? Why is it at my expense? And I really don't think that it made sense. And then as far as getting evicted, I just feel like it is such a strategic blunder by Mackenzie and Cam. No matter what it is that Chemo, T-Core, and Rubina promised or swore on or say they'll provide, it doesn't matter because why would they keep you around? Who else are they going to put up? I just don't get the logic behind that. And then if there wasn't a deal made, how crazy is that? I just don't think that it makes sense for anyone's game to send me out over Chemo. Especially because he is so good in these mental comps and he did endear himself to the house in a way that I just couldn't. He is such a deeply sweet person and his story is so beautiful. I feel like I can't keep up with that because he is just on a different level. And so it's as difficult as it is to put him on the block, as difficult as it is to vote him out, it's only going to get harder and harder as the weeks continue. So you might as well capitalize on this opportunity since we missed our shot pre-jury to take him out and then keep me, a house pariah since week 3, in there so that I can go home before you. I really thought that I did a great job of providing strategic reasons. And so when I heard the vote, I was just blown away because it didn't make sense to me. And I think that that's the most disappointing aspect of all of this. It just doesn't make sense to me.
You chose to be open to certain people in the beginning of the game about both your power and the Pentagon alliance, both of which got blown up. Talk to me about your thinking behind those decisions and how being called out as a threat affected the way you approached the game.
Sharing the information about my upgrade, I wanted that to act as a concrete to my social connections being built. I felt deeply insecure. And so I knew no matter who was HOH, I was going to tell them about the upgrade and I was going to try to form a final 2 with them because the truth is I'm just a coward. And with the opportunity to save my own butt from being the first evictee, I will gladly hop on that grenade. And I was maybe it's a testament to my ego, but I felt like I'll figure it out later on. I never expected it to like get out of control in the way that it did. So sharing that with Angela, I felt like was a great way to build a bond that would last the whole summer, especially because when she won HOH, she was like the most well-liked person in the house. And so I thought, how smart of me to create or to offer a genuine reason to keep me around because I can provide safety next week. And then with chemo, I thought that it was wise to share that information just because he was on the block. He was down bad. He was so sad and disappointed with like the way that his game started. And so I was hoping that number one, us being a member of like the have not stinky boys, I'm not calling it whatever Tucker wanted to call it, not a good alliance name. Just kidding. But it's like I told him because I wanted him to feel good about me and I wanted to show him like, hey, there are material things I can provide you in this game. So please prioritize me in your like formation of, strategic like structures. And then as far as like ratting on the Pentagon at every opportunity, I do think that that was like a miscalculation just because I was under the impression that like T-Core and Chemo liked me as much as I liked them. And so by sharing the inner machinations of that as a fan, I had no interest in being a part of the majority alliance, especially one with like a core group where it's like, what, we're going to dominate the whole game. And it's so boring and lame. And it's like, all of a sudden you wake up and it's like final 8. And it's like, what do you have to stand on outside of the fact that you cruise through the game? And so I did share the inner machinations or like the like inner workings, I should say. Machinations is so pretentious. The inner workings of that alliance, just because I thought that it would buy me goodwill, especially in with the formation of like the underdogs as that was coming together with Rubina and Tucker. I was like, how genius to be at the center of everything where I'm everyone's good guy. No way this blows up in my face. I'm so good at the game. And I really thought I was sick nasty. That down to brass tacks, that's what it was. I thought I was sick nasty and I thought I could get away with it. And then being called out as a threat and the best player in the game just devastated my game. It ripped me open and left me like open to the vultures that are BB26 house guests. If I were them, I would have been crying at my insides too, man. Like it was such a insecuring like experience, and I felt like everything through like as if it was the sands of time slipping through my fingers, and there was nothing I could do about it. Moving forward as like the best player in the game, which is such a misunderstanding of positioning and things like that. Because my thinking is, Tucker, the best player in the game is the people that you aren't even considering a threat right now. You being upset at me for like watching the show and having an upgrade is not like, that doesn't make me invincible in the game. Like, just what a backhanded thing of like, hey, you got to understand, I'm going to send you home week 3, but it's because you're so good. No, that's lame. And moving forward, I felt like I just constantly had this big maroon target painted on my back, and I had to explain to people that I will always be a bigger target than them. And so by keeping me around, there's something to focus on as we get in the later game, just because I am a big target and you're not. So how great is that? And I'm working at your behest. Like, wow, how cool. It really just added this element of stress. Before getting called out, I had, a million final twos. I was working with both sides of the house. Kenny had just approached me. And so I had that long lasting alliance need, like, just so near and dear to my heart. And so for me to then be exposed as just the house rat, it felt so soon, so scary. And moving forward, I was not able to be as agile as I would like. It exposed that my word meant nothing and truly devastated my longevity in the game. I'm just happy to have made it this far, honestly. Super disappointing, but it's okay. It's part of the game.
During both your HOH reigns, you ended up nominating your close allies in Cedric and Joseph, only for them to both go home in house flips. How do you look back on your time in power?
Looking back on my time in power, wow, I suck at Big Brother. Who put this guy on the show? Idiots, dude. Oh my god, I hate it. I don't love it. I hate it. It sucks, dude. And it blows. Um, Me putting Cedric up, that guy volunteered for the book. Okay, I am absolved of all inclusion in that. That was his decision, and I was like, thank God, because I don't want to put Rubina up off the rip. Because I was hoping to not have to do that and expose myself as like just a bad person to her, in the game at least. And then as far as Joseph, I think that it was so dumb, but my logic was if I want to last a long time in this game, I have to be willing to like make decisions that like appeases the house. I should have put up T-Core. I think that putting T-Core on the block maybe would have bought me an extra week at least because there was such a big target on Joseph. But my thinking was that I was much cooler and chill with the 5 people that flipped on Tucker, and I thought that they would respect my wishes as HOH. My fault. What a dumb expectation. And then secondly, I feel like my thinking was in order to like show Chelsea just like, a dog laying on its back being like, yep, I trust you, man, like whatever. I was like thinking that by doing that, she would trust me more moving forward, and maybe that would buy me like way more weeks down the road. And so my thinking was if I put T-Core up, she's the most well-liked person in the house. She's the most well-insulated. And, she was HOH and she was going to evict Tucker. I don't buy it. But I just had to prove, I felt like I had to like prioritize my game. And the result was Joseph going home, unfortunately. I did not expect Chemo to whip out such a beautiful speech. And maybe there was a deeper conspiracy. And I'm just really the fool. Either way, I think it was a miscalculation on my point. And I'm sorry to Joseph, honestly.
You and Leah shared a close personal and strategic bond, which got complicated in moments like her using the veto on your HOH. Talk to me more about your dynamic.
Yeah, Leah and I did have a pretty cool strategic like bond week or what else? What will I say? Yeah, Leah and I did have a cool like strategic relationship where it was like starting on day 10, I'm looking her in the eyes and I'm like, look, dude, I want to make this work. This is gonna be great. And then you flash forward to her trying to decide if she's gonna use the veto. I want to surround myself with people who are bold, who are willing to make tough decisions and aren't going to just agree with me because while that would be like easier in a game standpoint, I don't think that like I would moving forward get as much out of the game and be able to operate more efficiently if like I'm just being told yes all the time. I genuinely appreciate that she was willing to prioritize her game, even though it was at my expense. Um, Certainly sucked. I felt like I threw the whole kitchen sink. And whether or not her and I had a final 2, whether or not like we were hanging out in the HOH room, I think that she was going to make that decision no matter what. And so after she did make that choice, my approach in the game became, okay, how do we accept what's just been laid out in front of us and move forward? I think that the idea of rolling my eyes and then like not liking Leah as a result would have only hurt me because she was loyal to me. She just had a funny way of showing it, right? Hopefully I'm not being played for too big of a fool, as people did try to pin us against each other. But what can you do? Just a really interesting dynamic of like 2 people who are going to do what they want no matter what. I formed 6 other final 2s. I was in 2 alliances, or 3 if you count Kenny, Kenny and the boys. It's like I left her out of so much that like even the expectation for her to then like forget about that and then prioritize me feels a little ridiculous. And so egg on my face, she used the veto after I made such a big fuss of like trying to get Angela out, just trying to hedge my bets with Chemo and Rubina. Truth be told, that's what I was trying to do. Yeah, it was super cool. I appreciated our talks. I thought that like she is so intelligent and that applies to the game. And it was like an interesting insight into ways to carry yourself that I really did appreciate, that's all I can say about it, honestly. I don't know.
Finally, give me your rapid fire thoughts on each of the remaining house guests, starting with Angela.
Audacity.
Cam.
Suave. Or Thamarin.
Chelsea.
Shark.
Chemo.
Aww.
Leah.
Cool guy, man.
Mackenzie.
Sweet.
Rabina.
Heartfelt.
And finally, T-Core.
Core. Icon.